From Tally to Cali,
It's time
to wake up.
Wake up! Wake up!
Warchant.com is your ultimate Seminole sports source.
And this is Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.
One more corner pocket.
Now here's Warchant.com's Aslan Hajavandi.
And Corey Clark.
Going fishing for your shit today. We drunk in Tampa Bay, and we gon' hit.
Wake up! What is up, everybody? It's Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. Coming up on today's show, your new quarterback, DJ Uiagalelei. Come sit on the couch. Let us psychoanalyze everything you said the other day. Basketball, baseball, softball. We're talking all of it. Today's show, let's go. Wake Up Warchant, presented by Corner Pocket Bar and Grill, Tallahassee, Florida, cptallybar.com, the website, 2475 Appalachia Parkway. Lunch special on a Friday. You already know, everybody. You know, but in case you don't, if you're one of those that don't know, one of the maybe the ones that aren't the real ones. Chicken strip basket, kids. Hand-breaded, served with a dipping sauce or tossed in a sauce if you're choosing. Only $8.99. Also comes with a side dish of your choice. Can't go wrong. Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. We think there's probably great live entertainment this weekend, Corey and I. But if there isn't, it's Corner Pocket, so it's still going to be going off. Go hang out, throw some darts, shoot some pool, drink some cold beverages, eat some delicious food. You can do all that in one place, one roof, Corner Pocket Bar and Grill. You can get everything you need to know about Florida State sports in one place. It's called Warchant.com. It's the ultimate Seminole sports source. Hit the thumbs up. Leave us a 5-star rating and review. We appreciate those little things in life. I also appreciate just knowing that Corey's here doing the show. Feeling good, though, right? Corey, that's the most important thing here. You're well, I hope? Yes?
Of course, Aslan. Of course. Feeling great. And you know what? I appreciate you asking. How are you doing? All the way down there in Clearwater.
Yeah,
watching the
man,
Lady Noles softball team.
Yeah, but Mom's house, man. I'm at Ma's. It was cool. We're doing softball this week. We'll talk about that later on the program. But yeah, shout out to Coach Alameda and the ladies taking out number 9 Stanford. And Nigeri Kennedy, who's like the ace for Stanford, if you remember. She was the one that was giving Oklahoma fits in Oklahoma City last year. So they chased her off the freaking circle. So get some. UCLA, 1 p.m. on Friday. You're next. It'll be great. So, yeah. Hey, let's talk about a little bit of football. I got a lot of stuff I want to talk about, Corey, but let's talk about the DJ Uiagalelei interview because we didn't get to catch up and talk about it, and it also happened after headlines. So, I don't know. I think it was. I think you were tasked with writing a story about DJ and his comments about just how important it was for him to be at Florida State and the reasons he chose it. You know, this is all we have to go off on right now. We haven't seen him throw a football or anything, but, you know, give me your thoughts, I guess, on maybe, I don't know, it's so much the words he said or just the tone of his words. Where do you think he is right now as a college quarterback? Is this a guy that's been through it all, seen it all, and is ready to take the next step, or do you feel this is a kid that just, he's taken so many blows, so many hits that, not figuratively, not literally, that, he seems to want it so bad. I just wonder if that came across as a good thing to some people, or maybe just a kid that knows maybe he won't ever be able to live up to all the stuff that he wants. Really, really big, deep projections by Aslan, your boy right now.
Yeah, nice, man. Nice. I like it. And hey, we encourage everyone to go watch that video. That's, Warchant on YouTube. Go. If you're not subscribed, you're a dum-dum. And we know you're not a dum-dum because you're listening to this podcast. So You're obviously subscribed. So go watch it. Yeah, man, I thought he said everything you would want him to say. He comes across as a guy, and I think this is the case with a lot of dudes that have been 5-star super-duper quarterbacks and have started at the Division I level. He comes across as very, very mature. Number one, I don't know, man, he's probably 23 or 24 years old, probably 23 years old. He's played a ton of football. He's been in the limelight really since 2020, right? Wasn't he a freshman starting at Notre Dame?
Yep.
In 2020. So he's been doing this for 4 to 5 years now. He has been a big deal and a big star for 4 to 5 years, and he just comes across like that. Like he's just very polished, very mature, all the right answers. And, I just think he will be a very, very good ambassador for not a long time, only a year, a very good ambassador for Florida State University. He's seems unfailingly polite, which I know that's not something you absolutely need in a quarterback, but it's cool to have. He seems like just a good, positive person, and more importantly, for the sake of this show and for you guys' fandom, he's pretty good at football. But yeah, I thought I thought he said all the right things at that press conference.
Yeah, I'm honestly, he said the wrong things per se. I wonder. I can't even really formulate and articulate it properly, which is a poor thing to do as a person that talks for a living on a podcast. But just,
I agree.
man, I just really hope that there's something else inside him that he hasn't been able to tap into and show on the football field, because I have high hopes for this program continually again and for this upcoming season, and it just feels like what he was in Corvallis won't be enough. And that's not to say that he can't get better. We all get better, right? 1% better. That's the charge of you as a football player under Mike Norvell. Just kind of just some of the intonations of his voice just felt like a kid that, like, he's almost taking it almost felt like a sigh of relief, like I'm legitimate again. Like I had to go to Oregon State and like prove myself, and then this guy who's created this program again, he's built it back up. He's had all different kinds of quarterback, different skill sets. He's shown them to be successful. Like, he believed in me. He picked me. I'm back. I'm at a big-time Southern football program. I'm the man still. Like, don't you guys forget. Not in an arrogant way, but I think like he's almost trying to build himself back up. It felt like the way he just kind of talked about everything he's been through and just how much it meant to get the offer from Florida State. Or maybe just the fact that Florida State's really awesome again. So that is proof that he is back.
Well, I think what I would say to that, if you're like you need him, you don't need him to be better than he was at Oregon State, because theoretically, right, he's got better players around him now. He's a part of a better football team. He was good enough last year to lead a team to 11 or 12 wins, depending on the right team. I mean, it wasn't like he was, he didn't play at Ohio State. I mean, they went 8-4 in a pretty tough conference, a real tough conference actually. The Pac-12, its last year, was really good. And they went 8-4. They were in some games that they lost. I thought he was pretty darn impressive on the football field, especially considering where he was the last time we saw him, which was, essentially getting benched. After playing 30-something games, I think, at Clemson, he got benched for Cade Klubnik. So that's not a great way to end your Clemson career. For him to bounce back the way he did at Oregon State and play like that, again, I think it speaks more to what's going, especially the way Clemson's offense looked this year. Again, I think it's more like, okay, well, the offense as a whole was the issue. It wasn't DJ. And then I thought DJ played well enough at Oregon State that if you're like, okay, if he can just replicate that, if he could just be that guy, whatever it was, 24 touchdowns, 7 interceptions, 7 rushing touchdowns, so 31 total touchdowns, only 7 or 8 turnovers, ran for 31 first downs. Man, that's going to lead this team to a lot of wins. You just can't have guys actively losing games. And I don't foresee him being a game manager. It kind of sounds like that's what I'm talking about. I foresee him being a dude that will take shots down the field, and he talked about that. And he talked about the fact that he's not afraid of contact. That's a big deal, man. This team sometimes is not great in short yardage. They do not have an overpowering offensive line. To have a quarterback that can keep it on 3rd and 3 and get you 4 yards falling down because nobody can tackle him backwards because he's just an enormous human being, that's a big deal. And yeah, I just think overall, I didn't take anything negative out of the way he talked. I thought he said the things he spoke glowingly about Florida State and about being in Tallahassee. But look, man, I think what shows his maturity a little bit, Aslan, and when you talk about, and he wasn't arrogant, and I know that's not what you were saying, but somebody that was arrogant wouldn't have waited around to see what Cam Ward did. They'd have been like, oh, I've already visited. You're not going to offer me? I don't have the offer to come here? Okay, well, I'm bouncing then. Good luck. He waited it out because he really did want to get to Florida State. He knew what kind of situation this was for him. And so I think he does think highly of himself, which you want every athlete to think highly of himself. But he also has a little bit of a chip on his shoulder. He wasn't Clemson's first choice. He got benched at Clemson. And then Florida State, he wasn't even their first choice. We don't think.
And then I wonder about Michigan State not taking him, Jonathan Smith didn't take him to East Lansing either, although I don't know, maybe DJ didn't want to go.
Where would you want to – yeah, I was going to say, where would you want to play? Florida State or Michigan State? Like, I don't think that had anything to do with – Jonathan Smith, I think, would have taken him in a heartbeat. They did well together. He helped Jonathan Smith get that job. So I definitely think he would have taken DJ if DJ had any interest living in Lansing, Michigan, east or west. He didn't want any part of Lansing, Michigan, which we can understand. So no, I think this was all about getting back to big time football to a big time program, and he earned it. If he'd have looked at Oregon State like he looked at Clemson, yeah, he wouldn't be in Tallahassee. They'd have gone with somebody else. So he earned this right. He earned this opportunity. And again, man, I'm genuinely excited for whenever, I guess, next month when spring practice starts. I'm genuinely excited to see how all this works.
I feel like Florida State did a lot of good things on offense, do a lot of things that would highlight me as a quarterback. I feel like I push the ball down the field really well. I'm a big guy. I'm not scared of contact. Don't shy away from contact at all.
Yeah. Isn't that music to your ears?
Yeah, I mean...
and that kind of sounds like Jordan Travis shied away from contact. Obviously, he didn't. But Jordan Travis didn't keep the ball a lot. We've been over this. He ran for like 140 yards this past season. I think you will have a real running threat, and not just around the goal line. Jordan would keep it around the goal line because it's tougher to score down there, and he would take some hits to get in the end zone. I think this is a guy that will take some hits at the 42 to get you a new set of downs. And yeah, man, he could throw it as far as the state. He can throw it out over the mountains. He could throw it out of the stadium. He's got an unbelievable arm. So yeah, it's going to be a different looking offense. He is a different kid. But I also liked, kind of the stuff he said about Norvell. And you know what? This is what I wanted to bring up. Tokars. He talked a lot about Tony Tokars, and I think that's a part of this equation that we don't maybe give enough credit to because, Kenny Dillingham deserves credit, obviously, for what he did with Bo Nix at Oregon in 1 year, but also for seeing what he saw in Jordan Travis and being like, no, you're a quarterback. Norvell obviously had the final say, but they're like, no, you're a quarterback. You're going to be our quarterback. And I think, honestly, when 2021 started, Dillingham was a much bigger fan of Jordan Travis than Mike Norvell was.
Oh, yeah.
But so Dillingham deserves credit. But let's be honest here, man. When did Jordan Travis really take off? It was when Dillingham was in Eugene, Oregon. And Jordan Travis was here with Tony Tokars. And he had 2 great years with Tony Tokars. And the reason I bring this up is not to bag on Kenny, and not that he would care. He's a multimillionaire now, living his best life out in Arizona. But that DJ brought him up repeatedly about what he meant and how excited he was to work with him. And all the quarterbacks we've talked to routinely bring up Tokars. And I think people think this is like a Jimbo situation where Jimbo, he had quarterback coaches, but Jimbo was the quarterback coach. Jimbo was the OC. Norvell is calling plays, but Norvell is not the quarterback coach. He helps with quarterbacks, I'm sure, but Tony Tokars is the legitimate quarterback coach. And when you see what he did with Jordan Travis and you hear the way these other quarterbacks talk about him in spending time with him, he might be a little bit of the secret sauce to what went on with Jordan Travis the last 2 years, and maybe why DJ can be even better than he was in Corvallis.
Yeah, when we're at practice, when they're doing 11 on 11, Norvell's usually in the defensive backfield. Like he's usually kind of next to Adam Fuller. Meanwhile, like Tony Tokars is behind the line of scrimmage, looking at things, seeing it from the perspective of the quarterback, and then talking to them when they get done running their reps and their sets with the 11 on 11. So that's a very good, fair point. I guess I just wonder, like when he says, I see a lot of things that Florida State does that, that I can do also well. I just feel like, man, Jordan was not only Jordan's skill set was unique, but that was just such a unique circumstance for that. The fact that he'd been around this program for so long, like he lost his confidence, he regained his confidence, lost it again, and then ended up being back on top of the entire sport practically. And then he knew the offense inside and out, man. Like DJ's not gonna have that luxury. I mean, whatever physical attribute he has that's superior to Jordan, whether it's being more physical, like being able to absorb more contact or push the ball down the field more, like I would trade that away in a heartbeat to have a guy who knows how this offense needs to operate at maximum efficiency, peak efficiency. You can't have that, and I get it. I wonder what he saw from the Jordan Travis offense. He's like, yeah, man, that's my wheelhouse. I guess maybe a lot of it's just probably what Mike Norvell told him, just how confident Norvell is that he can figure a way out to have DJ be that successful as well. Because and when the live bullets start coming and they're down in one of these games at some point, just like Jordan had that confidence that he just everybody else around him knew that things were going to be covered and taken care of. But I guess at the same token, DJ's been through so much that he's not going to get rattled, right, Corey? Like, he won't get rattled, and he does have Tony Tokars in his corner. He does have Mike Norvell in his corner. So when it is 3rd and 8, and they need to get it's 4-down territory, like, he'll know exactly what the expectations are, and he's got the kind of playmakers around him that, he'll be able to be successful and keep this thing rolling of what we've grown accustomed to under Jordan.
Well, and man, if this offense is running the way Norvell wants it to run, this isn't a throw it 40 times a game offense anyway. You need to be good in play action. You need to establish a running game. And I just feel like if Norvell's got this offense clicking on all cylinders, most importantly, if the offensive line is better and you can actually establish a running game like you did in 2022, there's a lot of times, as long as he sees guys that are open, because they will be open, you're not having to fit it in really tight windows. And I get what you're saying. You got to see the offense better, or you've got to see it. You've got to know the offense. But, man, I think Oregon State runs similar type stuff to Florida State. And I just think that when you played as much football as he has, he's not going to be surprised or overwhelmed. I don't think, and I trust Norvell and I trust Tokars to have a guy that's a bright kid that's already played 4 years of college football, started 4 years of college football, ready to where he's not seeing ghosts in his 5th year, even if it's in a new system. There might be some growing pains and a bit of a learning curve, but I mean, that's their job, is to make him comfortable. Yeah. And I think they'll do a good job of making them comfortable. Look, man, when Jordan Travis wasn't even that good a quarterback, he would have games where he was 10 of 12, but for 200 yards, and they ran the ball a ton. I think let me put it this way. I think DJ in 2024 will be better than Jordan Travis was in 21. And the Jordan Travis in 2021, that offense was still pretty good for a lot of that season. In that offense, he didn't have a lot of weapons, and he didn't have a great offensive line. I just foresee that. I was more confident after listening to DJ. It sounds like you were the opposite, but I was more confident after listening to DJ that he's the guy that can lead this team for a year and be a bridge to either Luke or Brock.
Yeah, it can be a bridge. I wonder just how tall that bridge is. Is it going to be? Is it like the Courtney Campbell Causeway, or will it be like the Skyway Bridge?
Right, or the Golden Gate Bridge.
Or the Golden Gate Bridge. I guess also what I also probably need to really give a lot of credence to is the fact that, as you mentioned, him just starting so many years, like so much of Jordan's comfortability obviously was knowing what this offense is all about, but he seemed like he never got confused. Like when he would look at defenses, and again, that's a lot on Jordan, but that's probably also a lot on Mike and Alex and Tony in film studies, showing him like, these are the looks we're going to get. And this is where we're going to go when we get this look. When they have the single high safety, this is what we want to do. When they're going to go, et cetera, et cetera. Like DJ has seen a lot of looks. Like there really theoretically shouldn't be anything that's going to confuse and slip him up. And if he's got this same level of preparation from the coaching staff around him that Jordan had, that there should be a comparable level of production. So I'm coming around. I'm coming around to it. 12-team playoff, we're there. 16-team playoff for sure. 12-team playoff, probably we're good.
Just be in the conversation. Yeah. Have that Florida game mean something.
Absolutely. Did you see anything about this? I saw the headline. I didn't read the story because I was on the ride down. But I guess Chris Del Conte, who's the AD at Texas, said that the SEC, I think by 26, is going to go to a 9-game intra-conference schedule. So they'll play 9 conference games. And I think they're talking about wanting to angle towards 16 teams. And I don't even know how that would work. I mean, I probably should have. Did you see this story at all, or did you only see the headline like I did?
I mean, I didn't read it, but I saw that they're going to probably go to 9 games in 25, right?
Yeah, and then I wonder if 16 teams are we going to lose conference affiliation, and then by that time they keep playing each other all the time. It's like, well, if we deserve a rematch, and there's 16 teams in this playoff, let's do it. But on the football front, though, we won't talk about Herbie apparently giving an interview to AL.com and talking about the dark side of fan bases. We won't get into that one. Good. You folks can find it out if you'd like to. Have you seen the photos of Doak Campbell Stadium, Corey? I mean, we don't have to talk about this all that long, but it's crazy to see the progress they've made on the demolition on the west side and how much this thing really truly is kind of the erector set still at its core. And they prettied the hell out of this thing with the beautiful brick. I don't want to call it facade because there's actual buildings. There's the School of Motion Picture. There's every single, like the registrar, all sorts of important stuff. School of Hospitality. So like Doak Campbell Stadium is an absolute marvel. But to see like the renderings of what Doak's going to look like, unless I don't like the idea of people losing their seats that they've had for generations. But I kind of like the idea of it being a really hard ticket to get a seat in Doak Campbell Stadium for a football game. I like the fact that they're going to drop the capacity down. And the rendering, listen, if you want to sit directly behind the team and not be able to see the field and spend a premium, cool. But I don't know, just seeing this actually starting to happen is pretty thrilling, man. And the fact that, you see the old stands that probably your dad sat on at some point. Like, it's still kind of at its core, despite the fact that it's such a huge, big business, there's still like that, the echoes of the past still remain.
Yeah, I saw that on something called EarthCam, which I don't even know what that is. But when we were doing headlines on Tuesday, either Ben or Matt popped it up on the screen while we were in a commercial break. And it's like, wow, they are getting after that thing. That is crazy. And yeah, it did kind of remind me of when I was a kid. Like, oh yeah, there it is. There's that old beaut. There she is under all the, take all the makeup off the pig. And that makes it sound like the erector set was a pig, and it wasn't. So that's a horrible analogy, but you guys know what I mean. That was really cool to see. I don't like the thought of 50,000 capacity or thereabouts the year that you host Florida and Clemson.
That's what it's going to be.
Not a big fan
year,
of that.
Huh?
I mean, it's got to be. I think that's what Ira said. It'll be somewhere in the 50s is what they're guesstimating, and that's man, that's a bit of a bummer. But
those temporary bleachers are going to make a lot of noise when you're stomping on them.
Dang right, man. It's going to be like a high school quarterfinal game. Jump on those bleachers, man. Bang them. There should be a chain link fence in front of them. Like the old school days, man. Really rattle that thing. So that'll be it's going to be really interesting to see what that thing looks like for who's their first game? Boston College?
Yeah. Bill O'Brien and the Eagles.
That's right. Bill O'Brien and Thomas Castellanos rolling into Doak on a Monday night or a Sunday night. Monday night. Yeah. So, that'll be fun. That'll be exciting.
VitaminEnergy.com, promo code WARCHANT, BOGO, use it. Buy one item, get one of equal or lesser value for absolutely free. That's awesome, right? Who would do that? Florida State alums. That's who would do it. Those are the folks behind Vitamin Energy, hooking you folks up on the podcast with the buy one, get one free promo code. 260 milligrams of all-natural caffeine, and then vitamins and nutrients. So you get a little bit of vitamins and nutrients, you get a little bit of energy, you get vitamin energy. You can get the Mood Plus, you can get the Focus Plus, the Workout Plus. You get them all in a variety pack. And you can buy another item that's got 12 bottles in it for absolutely free. The world's first and only clinically proven, clinically tested energy shot to improve your focus, your mood, your energy levels, reduce brain fog. These are real things that we all encounter with all the stuff that we're doing these days out there in the world. Make things a little bit easier on yourself. Vitamin Energy. VitaminEnergy.com. Promo code Corey.
WARCHANT BOGO.
That's right. WARCHANT BOGO. VitaminEnergy.com. Shake it and take it. Should we talk about hoops at all, Corey? Or will it be dated by the time we talk? I mean, it's obviously the Virginia Tech game's well in the rear view. But with whatever's cooking this weekend.
No, not really. I would say the baseball starts today.
It does?
They got Butler, the season opener against Butler, 3-game set.
All Garnets on Friday, by the way.
Yeah,
Corey,
it's going to be interesting to see. Hopefully they'll go back to like the banana golds from the J.D. Drew years. I thought those were awesome. It's almost mustard yellow. But I would say, look, the basketball conversation is going to be a much bigger one in about 2 weeks. In my opinion, 2 or 3 weeks, we're going to have a real conversation about what is the future of this program, who is going to be running it, how long do you just because they got Duke on Saturday. Maybe they can pull off a stunning upset. I guess it wouldn't be stunning. Duke's not incredible, but maybe they can pull off the upset. But at the end of the day, it's still you're looking at a team that's going to be probably finish in the neighborhood of 500. and coming off 2 bad seasons, including the worst season in school history, to then just get to 500. And unlike the last time, and I said we weren't going to talk about it, but here we go. The last time that Leonard went through a dip like this, and it was a big dip. It wasn't this big. It wasn't a 9-win dip like he had last year, but it was it was like 4 years in a row of missing the tournament. Came close maybe once or twice, but 4 years in a row of missing the tournament. Well, he had Jonathan Isaac in the pipeline. Like, he was a recruit coming in to Florida State. Maybe the highest rated recruit Leonard ever signed, one of them anyway. And if you would have fired Leonard then, well, then Jonathan Isaac goes somewhere else. So, and Jonathan Isaac was a very, very big part of a team that was a 4 seed in the NCAA tournament. So there was hope in the future because of the recruiting class. Well, this one doesn't have a Jonathan Isaac. And so you just wonder, look, man, you just wonder what they do at the end of the season. It's going to be a hard decision. I'm not advocating for anyone to lose their job. I didn't do it with Meat. I'm not doing it with Leonard. I do acknowledge that there is a decision to be made. It's not an automatic because this program is very stagnant right now. And there are some things that I don't like about what I see, man. Like, I just don't like that they're like 270th in the country in rebounding margin. Get stronger. Get better at rebounding. Like, their leading rebounder is Jameer Watkins. They have 3 7-footers, and their leading rebounder is Jameer Watkins. They don't shoot well. They shot all right against Virginia Tech, although they made a couple threes late when the game was over. But they don't shoot free throws well. And I think that's more of a recruiting thing. Like, recruit better shooters. You're going to have better shooters. That's pretty simple. But I hate the rebounding thing. They're not very good defensively. They're one of the worst teams in the conference at field goal percentage defense. And this is a program that used to lead the country in that stat. They're one of the worst in the conference in field goal percentage defense, and they're one of the worst in the conference at rebounding. And the theory is that you play a bunch of guys, they're always fresher. Well, they should be fresher getting to the ball, and they don't. They don't rebound well, and it kills them. Virginia Tech, missed 30 shots the other night. They rebounded half of them almost. Well, that's a luxury Florida State doesn't have. So anyway, and that's been a problem for a while. Why would that be better next year? Are they bringing in Shaq? Why Bill Walton? Why would that be better next year? So there's things within the program structurally, DNA-wise, that I'm not a huge fan of. But I also am a really big fan of Leonard Hamilton. And he's shown he can do it before. I don't know if a 500 season is worth or not worth making a move. But we're going to have the conversation. Sorry, that was a long-winded way of saying, let's talk about baseball or softball.
Yeah, man, looking at their statistics, they're 27th in the country in turnovers forced. They're 30th in free throw attempts per game, 54th in free throws made per game.
Yeah, they do. That's the one thing they do a really good job of, better than a lot of Florida State teams in the past, is attacking the basket and getting to the line. And they are good. They're not a bad offensive team. Like the last 2 games, I think they've shot over 50% from the floor. The defense lets them down.
Yeah. Their scoring defense, 255th in the nation, allowing nearly 75 points per game.
Now, some of that is pace of play because they do play fast, so you're going to give up more points. But, they also gave up 80 to Virginia.
Yeah, but 295th in rebound margin.
That's gross. That's just gross, man. That's disgusting.
But they're only getting out-rebounded by 2.5 rebounds per game. So
there are some games where they get out-rebounded by 13.
Right.
And then some games, earlier in the season when they're just athletically superior to those teams they're playing, they're out-rebounding them. But in conference play, they get out-rebounded almost every game. And it's really hard to win like that consistently when you're constantly getting beat on the boards. And they got height, but Baba Miller ain't strong. Cameron Corrin looks strong, but he doesn't get a ton of rebounds. Gainey, I know Gainey's not healthy, but he would really help, but he doesn't get rebounds. Like, literally, Jameer Watkins basically leads them in everything, and he's been really good, and he was great the other night. But other than that, other guys really aren't kind of finding their role and becoming the players you would hope they'd be, at least they've hit a little lull here in February.
I wonder if theoretically Jameer, could he leave? Could he have upped his stock? I'm not talking about going to the NBA either. I'm talking about making it maybe a more appealing college player, and then because he can enter the portal.
Hey man, what are you doing? Why are you trying to speak that into existence?
I'm not trying to speak into existence. I'm just saying this is the world that we live in. Right? He's a redshirt junior, so take that for whatever it's worth. But maybe the fix is in from the home office. They're 342nd in the country in fouls per game, drawing nearly 21 fouls a game. So maybe it's the ACC screwing them over too. So Leonard not.
Yeah, no, they have to learn to they have to learn to guard without fouling. Now, it is odd that I do think they get a tough whistle at times, but they're not all make-believe foul calls. They don't guard real well. There are games where they don't guard real well without fouling. So, and teams do a better job. Teams do a good job of drawing fouls. Florida State does a good job of drawing fouls. That's why all their games last as long as football games, because each team is going to the line 100 times. The problem is Florida State doesn't shoot well from there. So that is a bit of an issue. But yeah, like you look at, again, I brought this up. They lose Darren Green, and that's it from this team. If everybody were to stay, and that's obviously not going to happen in this day and age, they only have one senior. But as I pointed out, he's the only senior that's a three-point threat. And you've got to go find some shooters. But I think more importantly than that, you've got to go find some toughness you've got to just go find some toughness on the glass. They are long. They've always been long. He likes long and lean, but those guys get pushed out of the way a lot, and it can really hurt you. Virginia Tech, I think, had a guy the other night that had 15 or 16 rebounds by himself. When do you ever remember a Florida State guy grabbing 16 boards? It doesn't. I mean, they don't play enough to get them, but they just don't. They don't crash the boards or block out or go get board. Whatever that talent is that some teams seem to have, Florida State does not have that this year. That said, that sounds like I'm saying they don't play hard. They do. There are just physical limitations. There just are. Jalen Worley plays as hard as he possibly can. He's 6'7", guarding guys that are much quicker than him. But he tries. Watkins absolutely tries. Cora and Baba, they're trying in there. They're just, especially Baba, he's just not physically built enough to hang in the ACC with guys that are banging him underneath. But the real question is, when will that happen? Like, get there, man. You've got a life to live. You're going to be a professional basketball player for maybe 15 years. Get stronger. Be a force underneath, and that I haven't seen maybe that progression from him. But all that being said, I like Baba. I like his game. He's certainly not a superstar. He's not Kevin Durant, but he is a guy that can really help you on defense. He's just, again, they struggle a little bit. He can't shoot free throws, and nobody on the team really rebounds well other than Watkins.
Do you like Lonnie Alameda?
I love Lonnie.
Okay.
How do you love Lonnie? You drove all the way to Clearwater to watch her team play.
That's right.
And folks, I hope you were watching on the U or whatever channel it was on as I was watching. Old Aslan was on. You were on screen a lot more than Lonnie. Every single pitch you were on screen because you were right behind home plate. That was good to see, man. Next time, bring a Warchant banner. You're home for Seminole Sports, and just hold that up like a John 3:16 sign back in the day. Every single pitch, hold that up.
Hey man, there's 3 more games. I can try it because the media seating is literally, they've got these stickers on the bleachers behind home plate, and there's like 3 seats per field, and each game's going on where they have media seating. So I sat where they had media. Like I wasn't trying to inject myself into the story, but I'll be behind it again on Friday, and then Saturday. We'll see about Sunday. They played 8 o'clock against Tennessee, so I don't know. Might want to get back on the road Sunday, but we'll see how it all works out. But yeah, no, Lonnie's awesome, clearly. Her team, fantastic, number 5 in the country as they headed to Clearwater for the Shriners Children's Softball Invitational. They played number 9 Stanford on Thursday, Corey. Shut them out. As we said in the beginning of the show, Nigeri Kennedy, who's the ace pitcher for Stanford, I think she led the country in strikeouts per 7 innings heading into this game. They got to her eventually. It took some time, but in the 5th inning, it was a lot of errors. But, I mean, they made contact. Janai Kerr rocked her twice. Waycaser doubled off of her. So, I mean, they tagged her up a bit, and it was really encouraging to see because we'll see if the pitching, I guess, maybe that first weekend in Tallahassee got some fair or unfair criticism, and Lonnie kind of even kind of poked fun at it, felt like in the post game after the win against Stanford. But I mean, if this offense can continue to be aggressive, which they've always been, you just feel like the pitching will probably come along at some point because Lonnie and her staff figure it out all the time. So, to shut out Stanford, the number 9 team in the country like that, just they're elite, and that's what happens when you're elite, man. You just keep rolling over great teams.
Yeah, so the runs that were scored were they scored 3 in the 5th inning. On the only hit they had the entire inning was a ball that literally traveled 9 feet. It was a pop-up that landed between the catcher and the pitcher and then bounced into foul territory after the catcher nicked it. Then the catcher had a pass ball. The third baseman had an error. The first baseman had an error. Maybe the catcher had an error. Some crazy stuff happened. Like the third baseman wasn't even looking on a steal of third.
Correct.
And that was thrown into left field. Yep. The shortstop or maybe it was the third baseman, made a throw that it wasn't terrible, but the first baseman should have caught it, didn't, on a Kaylee Mudge ground ball or a Kaylee Harding ground ball. I can't remember. They're all running together. But the point is, Stanford gave Florida State 4 runs in one sense. In the other sense, Florida State gave it to themselves because Florida State, as you said, Stanford has maybe the best pitcher in the country since Jordy Ball, the Oklahoma pitcher that transferred to Nebraska, who was unbelievable last year, is out for the year. The girl, I hate saying girl, the woman that pitched for Stanford on Thursday might be the best pitcher in the country.
Yeah.
And Florida State only struck out like 4 or 5 times. They put the bat on the ball against a defense that is good but has a lot of freshmen. And unlike Florida State's freshmen, they kind of buckled in the moment. Meanwhile, Florida State's freshmen seem to make every play. Torres is the real deal at short. She made probably the game-saving play with that catch of a line drive with the bases loaded. She also made another pretty important play on a ground ball with runners at second and third. She just did a really she's smooth, man. And is it Beecham?
Yes.
Oh man, she might be the next thing as a hitter at Florida State. Like she's a true freshman facing the best pitcher in the country. She had a ripped line drive single and walked twice, and was not overmatched at all. Was not overwhelmed at all. Had great at bats. She's got something. There's something really special there, perhaps. And then I liked what I saw from the freshman pitcher. They came in and the moment wasn't too big. So again,
Ashton Danley. That was big.
Yeah, I guess she got the save. Royalty was really good. And I know I was lamenting their pitching. Well, they shut me up because they just shut out a team that had scored 16 runs early in the day against it hit 6 home runs against Georgia Tech. So, yeah, there's some stuff going on there. They pitching and defense and base running. I think the offense will be better than it was on Thursday, but they're not going to be facing the best pitcher in the country every game. So, man, that was a typical Florida State win. Don't make any mistakes and pounce on the mistakes of the opponents. And that's exactly what they did. I think their only 2 hits the last 2 innings when they scored 4 runs were that little bloop between the pitcher and the catcher and then Devin Flaherty with a bunt. That was it.
Yep.
And they scored 4 runs because they steal bases, they put pressure on defense, they hurry everybody up on the infield, and it pays off with errors.
And it was a big 3rd inning for them, too. I mean, Stanford loaded the bases with no outs. And you're like, oh gosh, Lonnie was going to let her work through it, but you didn't know whether Allison Royalty was going to be able to work through it and navigate it cleanly, but she was able to. So, a little bit of everything I imagine Lonnie wanted to experience just in this entire weekend down here, high leverage situations, really being tested, facing adversity. It was all in the first game against that team with that pitcher going, and they shut them out. And they won 4-0. So, I was trying to pull. Has McKenna Reed thrown it all this year?
She has, but maybe that could be our next show. Is when the next time you talk to Lonnie, maybe ask about that, either on the record or off the record, because she has pitched, but she hasn't looked. She didn't. I don't think she looked great, and she was. I think she was getting ready to warm up. They showed her on TV on Thursday, but she obviously didn't pitch. I wonder if there's something bothering her, if there's an injury or something. But it's definitely worth asking because I thought she was going to be the star, the ace.
So did I. Yeah, she's been in 3 games this year and thrown 7 innings. So.
And what's her ERA?
4.
Yeah, that's not. So obviously, I think something might be up where she's coming back from something. We don't know, but that's kind of one of the reasons I was so worried about the pitching is because she's supposed to be the stud. She was awesome last year as a freshman. I think she was a freshman All-American.
Yep.
And she hasn't, again, it's only 6 games, but she hasn't really impacted a game yet. And so you got, if she gets into form and looks like how she's supposed to look with royalty and now with the freshman who, I can't even imagine the confidence that Thursday gave her because she hadn't been incredible in her first few outings. And then Danley comes in and, pitches 2 scoreless with the game still very much on the line. And, had to pitch around a bad defensive play in left field where I thought Beverly, I think that's her name, Autumn Beverly, I'm not sure how you pronounce it. It was a foul ball that she frankly should have caught. She barely got a glove on it as she was falling forward. It was a foul ball, but she should have caught it. And then, she ended up walking that hitter. So even pitching around that, she got the outs that she needed. She threw strikes when she needed. And I just think that's something that she got, I think 3 strikeouts in 2 innings against that offense. I think that can really bolster her confidence moving forward.
We'll go with Bellevue.
Okay, Bellevue. There we go.
We'll go
Perfect.
with Bellevue there. So, again, by the time we catch up with you folks again, they'll have played UCLA.
When's that game?
Georgia.
Today?
1 o'clock on Friday. Yeah.
Okay, and then Georgia's a morning game, right?
11 a.m., I think, yeah.
And here's the thing. I think Florida State plays at 8 on Sunday night.
Correct,
But
they do.
it's the second game of the night. So unless they're playing on 2 different fields, which I know they have 2 fields there, you might want to check into that.
Yeah.
Like if there's a chance that thing starts at 9, Aslan, you've done your part. That's just me talking. I'm not the editor. That's just me talking. But I'd be like, man, you've done your part. Because the mainly being like, or when are we going to record the podcast? Yeah. If you're not done with the softball game until midnight.
Yeah, I think for TV purposes, ESPN's probably happy that Kat Sandra-Cock is gone because now like Florida State they don't have that cyborg. They're human now. So these games are a little bit more, not great for a Florida State fan. It was awesome to see her because you're like, all right, they're not going to let any runs across. But I really miss her because she was so great. And also I feel like the games went by a little faster when Kat was in the circle. Hey
man, I like that pitch clock.
Yeah.
I like the 20-second pitch clock. Let's keep that up. Hey, and before we go, since we're on the topic of women's sports.
Well, hey, we got some baseball to talk about, too. We're not leaving yet, buddy.
Okay. Shout out to my namesake, Caitlin Clark.
Yeah, congrats to your niece, man.
Broke the record and went on to score 49 points in the game. And with 13 assists because why not? I don't even know what to say. I've never quite seen anything like that in college basketball.
Was Kelsey Plum is the record she broke?
Yes, correct. Yeah.
Do we know who's the male? Who's got the male record? Do we know?
Maravich.
Still.
He's next. And yeah, man, he averaged like 44 a game.
Was there even a 3-point line in his day?
Nope. But you know what
Amazing.
my man also averaged per game? 39 shots.
No, really?
39 shots a game. It helped that his dad was the coach.
Yeah.
Can you imagine being the LSU 2 guard on that team? Like, Pete, man, I'm open. Pete. Woo, woo. Making that noise where you're cutting to the basket. No, it's going up. If you want the ball, go get a rebound or go get a steal. He'd have like 6 or 7 assists. Well, he had to. Just law of averages. Anytime he passed the ball, somebody would have to shoot it. But, yeah, he averaged – it's either 37 or 39 shots a game, which is just – I can't even imagine what that looked like. Imagine averaging 44 points a game without a three-point line. How many times you must shoot. How often anybody else on the team gets the ball. And that's the cool thing about Caitlin Clark is that, she also leads the country in assists. She's not shooting it 39 times. Anyway.
Is she from Iowa? Why is she at Iowa?
Yeah, I think she's from Des Moines.
All right, shout out.
So she's right in the heartland, right there. She's right there. That's as lucky as you can possibly get.
All right. Didn't want to talk about...
shout out. Hey, and the FSU women's basketball team picked up a much-needed win on the road against Wake Forest on Thursday night.
Okay, good. Yeah, somebody was mad the other day. Like, you spent 12 minutes talking about men's basketball when the women's team's better. So, there you go, buddy.
Yeah. But they did. It was a good win. It's a nice win. Keeps them on the right side of the bubble, if they're even on the bubble. They're on the right side of it, so good for them.
I hate nothing more than being a hypocrite. Try to be a consistent person, but I fall short of the glory. I, too, err. Really excited about baseball because it's a whole new team. I mean, it's practically a whole new team. Mm-hmm. And that's cool. Like, it's also cool to bring everybody back and we're going to build around this guy and we got this person coming back and we know what we have. But sometimes, especially when you're coming off the kind of season that Florida State had last year, it's like, no, I want everything to be blown up. I want to start from scratch. And it seems like Link has done that. I think he said 26 guys that he's, quote, onboarded, very corporate jargon. Shout out, Link.
Yeah.
26 guys. Friday night starter, tonight's starter against Butler, 5 o'clock game at Hauser. Make it out, everybody. There's going to be Cam Leiter, a transfer from UCF. Is it Lodesy? Is that how he pronounces his name? The kid from UNF, I think? Alex Lodesy?
Maybe Lodice. Lodice.
Okay, we'll go Lodice. And that's okay. He's going to be part of the mix. Daniel Cantu is what Link described as a stabilizing force for them at first base. Right. They've got plenty of options at catcher and up the middle in their infield. Marco Dinges is a guy that's actually from my high school, Eastlake High School. Stand up, fly Eagles fly. Best line of the day when we spoke to Link on Wednesday said, lightning bat speed, there's strength there. There's damage intent when he's at the plate.
Okay, that's always good to hear.
So he says it's a very fun right-handed at-bat to watch. So he says he likes the balance and physicality of the lineup. He's got lefties guy. He's got left-handed looks, right-handed looks, and switch hitters. The two things he's concerned about are his younger arms, kind of getting acclimated to playing live games in front of the Hauser crowd and wherever else they'll have to play this year, which I think it's mainly bullpen. He feels good. Leiter, Jamie Arnold, Connor Whitaker, those are your starters for this opening weekend. We'll see how long that lasts, but sounds about right. But they have so many options coming out of the bullpen. He didn't really give us a lot of idea of how that's all going to work, but that is probably a concern that he has. And he also talked about defensive cleanliness and instincts. But he also admitted that he's a little bit hypercritical when it comes to that. So factoring all that into play, where's your excitement level going to opening day, Corey?
Like a B-. I just remember the last 3 years have just been so tough to watch. I do like that they have a lot of new players, new faces. I hope they have more bat to ball, put the ball in play more. They do have 3 really good guys in the middle of the lineup that we know for sure. Plus, I am excited about some of these transfers. And the pitching has to be better. And maybe Leiter is a legitimate ace. I think Whitaker's the Sunday guy, right?
Correct.
So you know what you got in him for the most part. It'll also be good for him to know his role right away out of the gate this season. But, I'm cautiously optimistic. I'm not expecting Omaha. I'm expecting an NCAA tournament bid, but like as a 2 or a 3. That's where my expectations are for this year. That's where they kind of need to be, honestly. Like, this isn't 1995 where if you have a coaching change, you just kind of have to build the program from scratch, and you're going to take some lumps for 2 or 3 years. With the portal, man, at Florida State, with the portal, you should be back to relevance pretty soon. If you're good at talent acquisition and you're good at evaluating. With 26 new guys, a lot of those are freshmen. You don't expect those guys to come in and be awesome right away, but they can be contributors. And then, when you got the portal, these guys have played a lot of college baseball. There's no excuse to be like, they're not young. The freshmen obviously are, but they got 44 players on the team, Aslan. 44. It's remarkable. It's like a football team with the amount of bodies they have now. Give me 9 that can play, and give me 8 to 10 that can really pitch, and you got a chance to do some things. But last year they were so bad defensively. I think they were last or second to last in ERA. They were last or second to last in defensive fielding percentage, and they were like last or second to last in runs scored. Like, there was nothing they did well. So let's get a couple things they do well. Like, just be middle of the road in all those things, and you're probably going to have a decent season. Be great at one of those things, and you are going to have a good season. So let's hope that can happen.
Feels like offense might be the clubhouse leader on potentially being great from the sounds of it. So we'll see how it goes. We'll keep our fingers crossed. On the way out, mybookie.ag, promo code's Warchant. Use that for an instant cash deposit bonus. NBA All-Star Weekend, Corey. Steph Curry versus Sabrina
It's fine. We know who you're talking
Ionescu?
about. Sure.
Sabrina Ionescu.
Right. Yeah. It should be against Caitlin Clark, honestly.
Steph is minus 260. I probably will not be rooting for anything as hard as I will be for a Steph Curry win. Steph, don't let me down, man. Okay. Don't let us down. And I'm not saying me and Corey. I'm just saying.
They're not. By the way, they're not playing one-on-one. It's a 3-point shootout.
Steph.
Right? Yeah.
Baby. Come on, man. One time. Pick up the pieces from Billy Riggs. Pick them up. Slam dunk contest, Corey. Are these real people or am I making the names up? Oh, never mind. That is a real guy. Jaime Jaquez in the slam dunk contest. He's plus 675. Jaylen Brown plus 425. Jacob Toppin plus 650. Is that Obi Toppin? Is his name Jacob?
Yeah, man. No, it's Obi Toppin's brother. They don't even have the good Toppin. And Toppin's not even good. Dominique Wilkins and Michael Jordan are rolling over in their graves. And they're not dead, either one of them. That's how bad. The slam dunk contest is dead, and it's been dead forever. Aaron Gordon and, who was my man?
Zach LaVine, I think.
Oh, they brought it back to life for that 1 year. It was unbelievable. That might have been the best dunk contest ever. But no, none of the good players ever want to do it. So you're left with Obi Toppin's brother, and is Mac McClung doing it?
He is. Mac McClung's the odds-on favorite at 190, minus 190.
He's a white kid with some bounce, but he's a novelty act like Cirque du Soleil. But he's also not even in the NBA, I don't think.
Yeah, I don't think so.
He's a G League kid, man. I mean, it's just that's how bad this thing's gotten.
3-point contest. Dame Lillard, the odds-on favorite at plus 500. You know who's got the second shortest odds? Malik Beasley.
Malik Beasley. There you go, Malik. Win that thing.
Let's go, Bees.
Yeah, he's had a nice year. He's had a really good year, actually.
Yeah, so those are your weekend plays on the All-Star Weekend, which I don't even know where it's at. I think is it in Salt Lake City this year?
Who knows? No, it's in Indianapolis. I did know that.
There we go.
Yeah.
Promo requires $50 minimum deposit and rollover requirement of one-time deposit total, including bonus for withdrawal. For full terms and conditions, visit mybookie.ag/about-us. All right, that's a wrap for us, everybody. Thanks for listening. Jeff Cameron Show, 1 to 3 o'clock. We'll be back, I think, with a Monday podcast. Maybe I'll be in Tallahassee. Maybe I'll also be in Clearwater hanging out at my mom's house. Lots of softball going on. We'll have full reaction from Coach Alameda after what we hope are wins on Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Check out warchant.com for everything else under the sun that deals with Florida State. For Corey, I'm Aslan. Thank you for watching, or listening, rather, to Wake Up Warchant, presented by the Corner Pocket Bar and Grill.